Hey everybody, Greg, Shep, and Jason from Extra Time here. Welcome to Act 3, Sweet Home Chicago. Well, the Chicago Fire beat the Revolution to earn a home match against Cinderella team Real Salt Lake. Second year in a row, really, that RSL is the Cinderella team in the playoffs. Can they step it up, though, against Chicago and get the win? That's the question. Now, Chicago won the series in the regular season. They had a 1-0 win at home and a 1-1 draw on the road. We're going to start talking about Chicago a little bit, and one thing I want to talk about is how often we mentioned during our show this year how bad Chicago was at home. Mm-hmm. Now everyone talks about home field advantage in the playoffs. Now, since the All-Star break, they're 4-2-2 at home, including last weekend's playoff game. Yeah,
Chicago's home field advantage here could just be that they're not playing in Salt Lake, because if they were playing
at altitude,
Salt Lake would have much more of an advantage.
But
I'll tell you, in front of the Chicago fans, the way that they've been really jacked it up in late season from the Chicago fans gives their team energy. You saw them the way that they came out against New England. They had that extra step, and it lasted all game for them.
I think when you talk about home field advantage, players really on the defensive side of the ball late in the game, that's where it helps. Home crowd cheering you on doesn't help the chemistry in the attacking third of the field. But when you're hanging on, you're biting your fingernails, you're trying to defend maybe a one-goal lead, it helps those tired legs.
However, in that New England game, Chicago was helped by their fans to get that winning goal. I mean, as the pressure built and the time started to wind down, those fans willed them to get a goal. And I think they also had an effect on the referee maybe in when Nyarko was down, maybe putting a little pressure on Osei and got away with something a little bit. And it ended up being a goal.
It's a two-edged sword, though, because Greg, as a former player, Jason, you're a former player too, when that crowd urges you to go forward, sometimes you get a little bit exposed at the back. You shouldn't be listening to the crowd. You got to stay organized.
Yeah, it's about energy. It's about the energy that the crowd can bring you. And I'll tell you what, in this game, Chicago's defense, if they don't get Conde back on the field, again, they played great against New England. They shut him out in the game at home, and you have to give them credit because we probably didn't expect that. We didn't expect this Chicago defense to pull together like they did. Mm-hmm. But if they don't get Conde back, I think they're going to have a lot of mismatches against the speed of Real Salt Lake.
They could. That's absolutely true. Especially, not that Conde is the fastest guy in the world, but you're right. I mean, they're going to have. He's a smart defender, and that's really where it comes down to. I think obviously the key for Chicago is Cuauhtemoc Blanco. We've talked about that many, many times. I also think that against New England, and this will also be important against Real Salt Lake, the return of John Thorrington has been huge, and that helped them in the midfield. Obviously, he got the goal, but he was also very smart with his distribution and his positioning and getting into the attack. And the last thing is, there are question marks right now, Shep, about Brian McBride. I mean, he has supposedly an IT band problem. He says he's going to be ready to go on Saturday night. If they don't have McBride, how much does that hurt them?
I think it would definitely hurt them, but there's another player on the field, and he did it against New England, that I think is a key to Chicago having success. That's Papa. He's got the ability to run the defense, to break it down. He's so clever with Blanco in terms of sensing where each other are on the field and attacking that weakness in the defense. So Papa's got the ability to turn a game around.
And I would add to that Patrick Nyarko is not your average, third or fourth forward. He's a guy who could very easily be starting for this team.
Right.
So I get that he's not the same kind of player as McBride, and McBride's going to offer certain things that he doesn't have. He has things that McBride doesn't have. So it changes the dynamic a little, but you saw it against New England. Nyarko came in, he energized them, he helped create the goal, almost single-handedly, and he helped create a bunch of chances for them.
He did, and he gets forward a lot, and I also agree with you about what you're talking about with Papa, and that Blanco and Papa have this incredible connection that they look for each other and find each other. Mm-hmm. Papa, of course, bounces back and forth between the left side and the right side for Chicago, as does Rolf. The wingbacks for Real Salt Lake are not necessarily at the same level as those two guys.
I can kind of agree to that to some extent. I think Chris Wingert's a very smart player. Yep. He's, I would say he's someone who's maybe a little above average all across the board, and he can match up. He does the job. Tony Beltran, though, for me, in the first game, played an excellent game. He did really well physically.
In the first game against Columbus of that.
Correct. In the first game against Columbus. Physically, he looks overmatched against guys. At that time, it was Leonard Renteria, and he matched up well, and he was able to do it. He's also fast. He's quick, and I think if you look at him, if he gets back on the field, I should say if he gets back on the field, but I think he's expected to. he needs to take a page out of Kevin Alston's book, because Alston played some nice defense in that series against Chicago, and he would get right up on Blanco, and he's quick enough to, maybe dive in every now and then recover from it if he needs to.
Well, obviously the defense for Real Salt Lake has gotten better as the season has gone on, but ultimately they're going to win this game with attack. I think they're going to have to press very quickly, and we talked about the speed up front. Movsisyan and Finley, again, the keys for them. Can Morales repeat what he did in Game 2 of the Columbus series against Chicago?
I think he needs to, first off, if they're going to win.
But can he? And will he?
I mean...
So yes or no question?
Okay, yes. Personally, I think this game is going to... It looks like to me it's going to turn out to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a 3-2 game or a 2-1 game. I feel like there are goals to be had in this game, and it will be because of a guy like Morales on one end and Papa and Blanco on the other end. These teams, as good as they can be defensively, I think they both are going to see that they're better attacking, and if they both get into the attack, that's what either team is going to succeed on.
Here's another factor. Dennis Hamlet, and I think he's done a good job, but lots of questions about Chicago, lots of controversy, great expectations for Chicago. Salt Lake, they're playing with house money. They squeaked into the playoffs. They're on a run. They have nothing to lose. I think they'll be playing without pressure.
Yeah, although I believe that all those struggles for Chicago, I think it has actually united them. I actually spoke to McBride a month and a half ago or so, and he said that. He said, look, this happens on every team. It's brought us together. We'll see, of course. That game is on Fox Soccer Channel on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But before we move on, we have to get to the predictions. The ET Cup, as I said in yesterday's show, we are this week predicting both games. They both count toward the ET Cup. Right now, Shep in the lead with 16 points, Jason with 15, and I am somewhere below them, several points below. So, Jason, give me your prediction for Chicago Real Salt Lake.
I think this game is 2-1 for Chicago. Just too much in the end in Chicago's attack. But I think you're going to see some posts hit. You're going to see some close chances. I think it's going to be an exciting matchup.
Shep, what do you think?
Well, tactically, if I were playing this game, the ET Cup, just to win it, I should go with whoever Jason chose. But I'm a sport. I'm going to play for the win no matter what. I'm taking Salt Lake 2-1. I think Jason Christ has the team motivated. I think Chicago is going to have difficulty dealing with the speed of Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake 2-1 over Chicago.
Well, I'm going to go with Chicago because I think it's the only way I can get back into this. So I'm going to say the Fire 3-1 over Real Salt Lake. I got to get something to get back into this. Again, that game is on Fox Soccer Channel on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's all we have for you this week, but don't forget that we are going to be live at MLS Cup in Seattle, a 90-minute show right before the game, so be sure to tune in to MLSnet.com for that. You can always email us at extratime@MLSnet.com. Enjoy the conference finals, everybody, and join us next week when we kick it around.